nuances to find out whether what you intend to do can pass the test of human rights compliance. That has not happened. And for that matter, I would like to think that it is consistent with the legitimate grounds for restricting human rights, particularly public safety and public health.
Okay. If I understand you correctly, Dr. Owusu Dapaah, as a human being, I have a right to decide and to allow what enters me. But if I don't take it and it's going to endanger somebody else's life, then that is where the state comes in. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay. If it's absolutely right, then instead of we saying we're introducing a compulsory measure where it will be mandatory for people to take the vaccine, how about we rather sanctioning the unvaccinated who may put other person's life in danger instead of saying compulsorily go for a vaccination?
Yeah. So I think that it's just legal semantics, variation. If you are sanctioning the person, it is a certain layer of compulsory vaccination. Now, because why are you sanctioning? You are sanctioning because you're unvaccinated, meaning that you are being made to suffer punishment for refusing vaccination. And for that matter, you are still within the spectrum of compulsory vaccination.
I see. So, Doc, let's now talk about enforcement. We're speaking hypothetically here. I don't know whether we're that close to having it made compulsory, but how can we enforce this? Having at the back of your mind the EI 164, that is the Imposition of Restrictions Act that was introduced in 2020, Act 1012, that said, well, for people who fail to wear the nose mask and face mask, they will be, sentenced to prison for 4 to 10 years or be fined 12,000 to 60,000. Enforcement was difficult. So if we want to even make it mandatory or compulsory, how will enforcement be like? What are the things we need to consider?
Right. Thank you very much. You noticed that just a few days ago, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mr. Dr. Dapaah, gave a hint that one of the bills that is considering putting before Parliament is the alternative sentencing bill, which seeks to say that let us move away from custodial sentence where we just put people in prison and give them some other forms of punishment. So, therefore, assuming that it is so essential for us to go on this extreme trajectory of saying that if you do not submit to vaccination, then we are going to impose some punishment on you. I think that the punishment will not necessarily have to be custodial because having regard even to COVID-19, it is not prudent to actually have people in prison because when they are in prison, their life is seriously endangered because of their unvaccinated status and all that. But I think that it's not so much about legislating to make it compulsory, but we need to invest more in public health education. I think people need to be educated, and we have a lot of falsehood, right? A lot of falsehood and conspiracy theories going out there, which make people get scared that if you get any of the vaccines available, you are going to die, you are going to get this, you are going to get that, you are going to get that. I think that we need to employ effective measures to disabuse the mind of the public from such falsehood, from such deception. And I think that is the bigger battle we need to fight, rather than just trying to make laws to make it compulsory. If we educate the public to understand the truth of it, and then they get to know that COVID-19 is not necessarily the first public health risk which we are seeing. Now we have the Black Death, right? And we have so many others in the times past, centuries ago, where over 100, 200,000, 500,000 people died and all that. And we've just seen another one. And thank God we've made progress in the scientific knowledge and medical research. So far, this vaccine has proved that it's working. And if we're able to get the rhetoric right, and we have a meaningful engagement with our members of the public who have fears and unnecessary anxiety about the safety of the vaccine, I think that we make much more progress than just rushing to Parliament to get compulsory vaccination law. Mind you.
I hear you. Dr. Owusu Dapaah, thank you very much for your time with us this morning and, of course, for the clarity. And based on what Dr. Owusu Dapaah has said, there's a leeway in the law that allows leadership to say, listen, let's enforce or let's introduce